How do you practice Buddhism during difficult or challenging times? This could be everything from wars, conflicts, natural disasters, severe illnesses, just periods of stress and time where it seems like practicing Buddhism should take a back seat in relation to what you're experiencing. So what I'm going to talk about is going to be how to continue practicing Buddhism during these times. But as it relates to whatever that situation is, you're going to have professionals, organizations, the government giving you direction and assistance on what to do. This is related to the Buddhist religion and your practice. So there are three major components that I'm going to recommend that we practice during these challenging and difficult times. It's going to be faith, effort, and your Buddhist practice. So the visualization I'd like you to take a look here is this challenging, difficult time. Imagine it being like a hurricane or a typhoon and you're a boat on the ocean and you're going towards this hurricane or typhoon. And what you want to look at here is, how do I safely navigate past this typhoon, hurricane, to safe harbor, to that port that I'm trying to get to? And so we can look at that safe harbor or port just in our everyday world and existence as past that experience, but also more fundamentally, we can look at it as nirvana, enlightenment. So we can look at it in two different ways. So the first part is going to be faith. And so faith inside Buddhism is faith in the Buddhist teachings, the Dharma that leads us towards liberation, salvation. And when we're looking at faith in Buddhism, it's not a blind faith, but a faith where we are experimental. We are trying out the different portions of the Buddhist teachings. We are seeing some things are working for us. We're getting this understanding of Buddhism. So we may not have everything figured out. That's unrealistic. We're getting bits and pieces here. We want, yes, that this makes sense. Faith in the Buddhist teachings, because when we have faith inside the Buddhist teachings, even though we don't understand a lot of these concepts, and some can be very challenging and difficult to understand, we have enough of the faith to go, this is the religion I want to be in, this is why we're Buddhists, and this is the goal that I want to get to. So when we're looking at us as that boat on that ocean going towards that hurricane, right? Well, do we have faith that we can get through that hurricane, that typhoon? It's almost like righting your ship. You know, if it's bobbing around on that ocean, well, it's not going to be a very stable and easy path to kind of go through that storm. But when we right our ship and we point in the right direction, so the faith is going, the faith into the right direction of the Buddhist teaching, the Noble Eightfold Path, the Threefold Training, we are going in the direction that leads us towards enlightenment, gets us to nirvana. And so we're almost like setting our compass in the right direction. So faith in Buddhism is really important, and it may be sometimes during these challenging, difficult times to go, I just can't wrap my head around it. But I'm going to give you some tips on that when we get to the practice component. But you want to have faith that the Buddha was right in his teachings, and that's why we are Buddhists, and that we can right our ship and point in the right direction that gets us through that storm. The second part is going to be effort, and this is based upon the Buddha's Noble Eightfold Path, so there's right effort inside the Eightfold Path. And I sometimes feel like this can sometimes be overlooked by some laypersons, but it's really important. So as we right in our ship and we're pointing in the right direction, we got to continue going forward. So it's this confidence, this effort, this determination to continue on the Buddha's path, which can be just during our regular everyday lives very challenging, because, well, we got so many different things going on. But just imagine a challenging, difficult time. So this effort, this determination, this with courage to go on that direction where we pointed our ship, our compass, and go forward can be challenging. But we need to have the right effort because we know the Dharma is true and we are continuing on that path. And that leads us to the last part. That's going to be practice. And so when we're practicing Buddhism, you may be very familiar with maybe sitting meditation, for example. Well, a lot of Buddhists around the world, they do chanting and recitation. That's a very common practice. And this is something that you can employ, use as a tool, not just for your everyday regular practice, but especially during this time. Chanting, recitation, visualization are very powerful and can help you during this challenging and difficult time as it relates to your Buddhist practice. So for example, you can absolutely chant a sutra, and there are some short ones that are very popular that can be chanted, but more on the recitation of a Buddha is what I'm going to be recommending. So recitation of a Buddha's name is very, very popular, whether that's in Theravada or Mahayana, although you can sometimes see it more in the Mahayana side, especially with the Pure Land tradition face. And so this is where, as we are thinking, as we are reciting, we are engaged in a very wholesome, meritorious activity by reciting a Buddhist name, such as Amitabha Buddha in the Pure Land, or even just maybe Gautama or Shakyamuni Buddha as it relates to Theravada and Mahayana. As a Buddha of our era, we can recite a Buddha's name. And as we're doing that, we are engaged in a practice. We are ensuring that our thoughts, our minds, our effort, everything, our karmic actions, our merit is wholesome, because a Buddha is a very wholesome being. And when we're doing this, we are reducing, eliminating, stopping the three fires of greed, anger, and ignorance. And so this is a great practice, in my opinion. And as you are reciting, it can be done anywhere. It doesn't require anything special. You can have a Buddha beads, a mala, if you want to, and that's a very tactile way to do it. It helps you with your practice, but doesn't require that. You can do it anywhere at any time, which makes it perfect for these challenging, difficult times. You could also employ visualization. So for example, visualization of a Buddha. A Buddha is a wholesome being, so your mind now is almost like a meditative aspect here. So the recitation is very meditative in that aspect as well, but still with visualization, where our minds, our thoughts are aligned, are looking at this wholesome being. But it could also be, for example, in a Pure Land phase, where we are looking at Amitabha Buddha's Western Pure Land and everything like that, the visualization. So we're seeing these very much wholesome beings, wholesome places that are aligned with the Dharma and the Buddhist teachings that can help us during this time. And they can also have a very tangible effect on the situation we're experiencing as well. So they're not meant to be medical or psychological in assistance in that way, but they could have a very positive effect, because having a religious faith and determination can very much help us during all different types of challenging and difficult aspects. And you see that across all the different faiths that exist in our world. So you can see sometimes the tangible aspect, although that's not the purpose of our Buddhist faith, is to get us towards liberation, nirvana. And then as you're visualizing, as I mentioned, like the three fires, which is really the root cause of so many different issues, dukkha, in our life, it's helping us with our practice, because we may not have the sutras with us to read or recite. We may not have a temple to go to, but we can do these practices anywhere, at any time. You can do it during your daily activity, for example, the recitation. Maybe there's no temple nearby, you can do the visualization. So there's different things you can do during these very challenging and difficult times. But again, of all of these things, this is about continuing your Buddhist faith and helping yourself with that Buddha faith during these challenging and difficult times. But you should always seek the advice and assistance of professionals, nonprofit organizations, government officials as it relates to the particular situation that's encountering. For example, if it's an earthquake, you're going to have usually emergency responders, there's going to be doctors. So there's a very clear separation here between our Buddhist religion and our practice that I'm talking about right now and the actual situation. You have to ensure that you are meeting both of these needs as you're continuing forth as a Buddhist. So have you experienced a challenging or difficult time, or have any questions about this? I would like to hear from you in the comments below. Thank you.